Hey there, it's Carrie here from Wrap Your Head Around Silks. You are listening to the Expecting Aerialist podcast. I wanted to start today by letting you know there's a free gift in the show notes. Go ahead and click and you will get a free copy of my ebook, Understanding Aerial Silks. It's meant to be a companion to your training. And I just wanted to send a token of my love and appreciation for my podcast listeners. All right, so today I'm really excited to have Anna Cicone. Her and her husband are the owners of the Aerial House, which is here in LA. And she is also, as of today, 37 weeks pregnant. She has been able to train throughout her pregnancy. If you take a look at her on Instagram, you'll see some amazing videos and photos of her training with her gorgeous pregnant belly. And I am just so excited to hear her process of the last 7 months. And really excited. So without further ado, let's get started. Oh my God, I'm so excited for you. And this is your first kid?
This is my first. Yeah, this is first kid, first pregnancy. And it's been a wild ride so far.
Okay, so I'm like dying to find out what is going on with your pregnancy, just because it's like, now that I've gone through it,
yes,
it just is so interesting to me, right?
Yeah.
So for my listeners, Anna, can you please pronounce your last name for me? Because I'm going to butcher it.
It's no problem. It's Cicone. Or Cicone, if you want to add the Italian spin on it. Cicone.
It's awesome.
Gotta really throw it.
Yeah, so Anna and her husband, Nick, right? You guys own the Aerial House. And how have you guys been doing during the pandemic with that?
It's been, so we have a pretty lucky situation in that my husband's mom owns the space and we rent it from her. So we had to shut down the operation completely, but we didn't have to close the school. And I know there were a lot of studios that were not in that type of setup that had to, make different decisions, maybe shut down, move elsewhere, maybe find different ways to stay open. We got a little more lucky, I think, in that we had a great setup, but we still lost, a whole year plus worth of being open. So our students didn't have really any line of connection to our studio. It was definitely a trip. I think it lasted, I'm sure like when this first was announced that this was going to happen, there was, I don't think I had any idea that it would last as long as it did, even though people were saying that it might. So we weren't quite aware of how much we would be affected until well into it. But we're reopened now, and we're definitely regaining some momentum, which feels really good.
Man, I remember back in March when California was saying, okay, we'll be back open in August. And everybody's like, August? That's so far off. That's crazy.
Yes,
and then, like however many months later, we're like, oh goodness, we were just so young and naive.
I know. There was that 2-week shutdown in the very beginning. We were like, guys, it's 2 weeks, but we'll be back. Don't worry.
Yeah.
Nope. 2 weeks became 1 year, became, more than that, but I'm so happy that we can at least open to some capacity now.
I am really happy that you guys were able to survive the year because, I think as a city, we might have lost a handful of studios, in our community.
Yeah. It was a big hit for the aerial world.
It was a big hit.
One off the top of my head that moved to a different state and found a way to be open elsewhere, but that's still a loss to Los Angeles for sure.
Christina Nikaya was just on the podcast a couple weeks ago, and she has decided to get rid of her brick and mortar, and she's now all online. And so there's another one, rest in peace. But with what she does, I feel like an online platform works really well. The flexibility training works really well online. So
100%. And I think that is kind of one of the silver linings of all of this is that people found ways to thrive and operate that weren't brick and mortar, which if anything kind of opens your audience to a wider scope. And although it's awful and, people that were able to go into the studio in person will probably sorely miss that experience and the community of it. It's so nice to know that we're in a time where you can still, your business can still survive in a whole different way. It doesn't have to completely shut down.
Yes. Yes. And Brett and Rachel, you know, I'm really close to them, and just watching them make decisions in the last 12 months and, you know, how heavy it was on them. I just have so much respect and just awed by you guys who have chosen to take a brick and mortar on. I do not know how you do it. I am like adjacent, and I'm like, whoa.
It's a thing. It is like having a baby in a way. But Brett and Rachel, I think, are on a whole different level in the way that they're able to create a format and a platform around online. I mean, they have that down to such an art. I'm sure it's been something that they've practiced and studied in a great detail over the years. But it's true. It's brick and mortar is a different beast. And I think the whole pandemic and the shutdowns really proved to us that you might want to have something else on the back burner as an idea of different ways to hold your business just in case, because you never know.
Yes. Okay, so this is the Expecting Aerialist podcast. So
yes,
Anna, congratulations. You're the first aerialist I've had on here who is currently pregnant.
What? Well, that is such an honor. Thank you so much.
Yeah. And so she just said she is just now 37 weeks. Oh my God. I'm so excited for you. You're having a girl, you said?
A little girl, yeah.
You're having a little girl. I have a daughter too. I am very much, what's the word? I just love little girls. I was really happy. I mean, obviously if I had a boy, I'd be happy too, but I love little girls.
Right, of course.
So this means you had a pandemic pregnancy.
Yes. It's crazy that I think all babies that were born in 2020 or 2021 have a special mark on them.
Yeah. Okay. So everybody's got such a different journey. Can you just start from the beginning and tell us about that, and just however you want to tell your story, and then I'll just jump in because I'm just going to probably have a million questions for you.
Yeah, whatever you got for me, I am here for. So it's been a trip. I kind of started, Nick and I, as we were thinking about having a baby, we weren't sure if this was the right time. I mean, I know there is really no right time, as they always say, but it was specifically surrounding the pandemic and not really knowing what things would be like with care providers and how kind of freaky and different it might be. We weren't sure if this was the right time, but it kind of just happened that way. And then in relation to Ariel, I didn't really make a decision right from the beginning that I was going to be doing it the entire time. And I also didn't make a decision that I wouldn't do it. I kind of had this idea in my mind that it would be day by day. As I felt good to continue, I would continue. As my body needed to adapt, I would adapt accordingly, but there would be no hard and fast, no, I need to make it to the end, or no, I'm definitely not going to keep going. Unless, something came up which would make me have to stop, in which case, absolutely, I would stop, because the health of body, the health of baby were more important ultimately.
You're so wise, by the way, for having that attitude. Because, I mean, the one thing pregnancy teaches us is that you can't control anything.
Nothing at all. And I think because it is my first time, I shouldn't speak past tense yet, but it is my first time. There are so many unknowns, and I think it's hard, especially as an aerialist, which I'm sure you know and all of your listeners know. It's hard not to be stubborn with it and kind of hold it on this pedestal that it needs to be there all the time, or else you're no longer an aerialist, or you no longer train aerial. It's not a part of your life anymore. But I think that's just, it's just not true. And it's something that I've told my students coming back into the pandemic, is that it's always a part of you, and you can take these, elongated breaks. And as long as you do come back to it eventually, you still are an aerialist, even if you had to stop for a period of time, because life will throw anything your way. You can't always control for those things. So I kind of had that in my mind going into it, but I also didn't want to stop if there wasn't something that was making me. And day by day went by, and I felt I've had a really lucky go. I mean, I have things that I could definitely complain about, but physically I've been able to continue my training to a degree, also with the idea in mind that I wouldn't be seeking any sort of strength gains or, new skills. I wouldn't be hard on myself as I lost those strength gains and lost those skills that I once had. There was definitely, and it's been a daily progression of kind of having repetitive conversations with myself and trying not to compare current self with pre-pregnancy self. Some days have been a little harder to accept mentally than others, but I think overall it's been a really kind of positive and kind of a mind-blowing experience, because I didn't think necessarily that I would still be able to do what I'm still able to do had you asked me before I got pregnant.
Sure. It's kind of from what I've heard from all the super smart people that have been on this podcast, is basically, if you stop, it's really hard to restart. But if you continue, the muscle fibers are able to contract and release and contract and release. And you're able to continue. Rachel, same thing. I think she was doing aerial to 39 weeks.
That's amazing. I was actually recently going back over some of her videos on the Womack and Bowman platform, because I was curious to know about the afterwards, not to compare myself or any reason like that. It's just fun when you're in this headspace to kind of seek out other people who also maybe trained through and kind of what their experiences were.
Right.
And I mean, she's a different level, but her body definitely, you can tell, retained so much of it, even if she did need to gain some of it back afterwards, which I'm sure, is true for literally anyone that goes through something like this. But yeah, it was, she's been definitely an inspiration. There's a couple of people out there who are inspiration. I would say any aerialist, regardless of what happened to their aerial training during pregnancy, is an inspiration in some way, especially if they came back to it afterwards and got their strength back. I think that's something, like, I look to you. I can't even recall, but there's so many people who I admire and look up to, and who have given me inspiration to know that even though there's going to be a pause inevitably in the next step, the strength will still come back at the end of that, because of what you mentioned in regards to kind of having that muscle memory and that connectivity to the movement.
Yeah. We were actually, I don't know when we got together, but we were kind of training together. And we all looked around and was like, okay, you got a C-section, you did, you didn't, you did. And, we had kind of like this sprinkling popcorn of like who came back when. And at the end, we kind of looked at each other and none of it mattered. Like our kids are all between 3 years old and 8 months, or I think 4 months. Leslie's kid is now 4 months. And it doesn't actually matter. We look around, it's like, oh, why were we micro worried about like, oh, did you come back in 2 months or 2.5 months? I mean, who cares? And it's like, I think,
right.
I think we do care in the moment. Like, I remember coming back, it was 2.5 months for me, because I decided that New Year's Eve, I was going to go back to my classes in 2020, because my daughter was born in 2019. So I was like, okay, I just picked a date and went back in. And it's like, okay, if I would have waited 1 month, like, who even remembers?
Right.
We put it on ourselves. Right. And it's so insane. I like to think back, even if I had started in March instead of January, like, literally, who cares?
It's so true. You're so right. Yeah. I think we always feel like our present moment is this like long, elongated, lasts forever. Whatever's going on in this moment is the most important thing. But then a month or two later, you look back on that moment and you ask yourself, why was I putting so much gravity in returning then? Because,
Yes.
like you said, no one cares. And at that point, you don't even care because
Yeah.
eventually you do return. You know you want to, so eventually you will. And at that point, everything that happened before is kind of moot. It doesn't even matter anymore. So,
no, it doesn't.
Yeah, I completely agree with that.
So I feel like, because there's also a lot of conversations pre-baby for all of us. We're like, oh my God, I want to get up so quickly. Like, that mindset was for sure there for all of us. And then now after we had the baby, older and wiser, 8 months later, or like a year and a half later, we're like, oh my God, what is wrong with me? But all of us went through it. And then the wisest of us, out of my friend group, she like chilled so good coming back because she had I don't know, I just see her, she just has so much wisdom and comfort with herself. And she kind of, they went to like Sweden and Scotland for a vacation after the baby was born. This is pre-COVID, everything. And I was like, just like such a graceful way. And then, okay, let me do some aerial. And then, of course, like all of us, she's back 100%. And it doesn't, we can't even remember the past.
Yeah. It is. Yeah. I feel like that's a little bit of a learned behavior to be able to, or very unique to the person to be able to separate themselves from these parts of their identity enough when they know that they need to, and just enjoy whatever part of their life they're going through, regardless of if they have those things. And I know for me, it used to be, I think that aerial was so stuck to what I considered a part of my identity that if I had to take any time away from injury or otherwise, it was, for me, a disaster. Like I didn't want to. It was just so much a part of me. And I do think over time, you just kind of, through experiences, whether it be having to take a long hiatus or having people that you're inspired by go through something and you realize, that they were able to come back through those types of experiences, and kind of learning that aerial is not, it can be a part of your identity, but you don't have to be so stuck to it. It's I feel like a needy hobby or a needy passion or a needy career, and that you always have to be doing something with your body in order to retain it, but it will always come back to you. So, I love the idea of being able to take kind of mentally disconnect from it when you need to, and not feeling that pull of stress or failure if for whatever reason you can't do it for a little while.
Yeah, I think that word is exactly what people are going through.
Yeah.
Coming back from the pandemic. I call them born again aerialists.
I love that.
If they're coming back. Their first class back, I'm like, are you born again? They have to think about it for a second. They're like, wait, I am. And there is a feeling of failure. And I really like to really analyze that for people. Because I'm like, okay, first of all, in this case, it was definitely not your fault that all the studios closed.
Right.
And you didn't have a rig. And even if you had a rig, it's hard to motivate.
Right.
Maybe you need an instructor there. Maybe you need community around you. So let's take that off the plate when it comes to being like, there's a fault. There's no fault in there.
No.
And then another student said, oh, what's the point? And
it's sad.
I was like, well, just asking yourself, what is the point? If you enjoy it, there's a huge point. And of course she was like 21. I was like, I was like, okay.
Oh, girl.
I'm like, oh my God. She didn't say it to me. Had she said that to me, she would have been sat down for a lecture. I call it the wrap your head around silks lecture, which is hilarious to me because it's just me like lecturing you and you just have to listen to me until I'm done. There's
a lot to be gotten and gained from a wrap your head around silks lecture.
I know. So Anna, I'm dying to know. So your first trimester, what did you experience? Did you have any morning sickness?
My first trimester. I got out free. I was so lucky that I did not have morning sickness. I know. I had aversions. I didn't want to eat most food that I usually like to eat. It sounded just gross, but I never had terrible nausea. It didn't incapacitate me. I was really lucky, but I was like wildly fatigued. Like I was just so tired. That was my biggest ailment in the first trimester, was just how I had never felt that physically and mentally drained before for just absolutely no reason at all.
Well, you're building bones and organs, and
I shouldn't say no reason at all. Very good reason to feel fatigued.
It's happening. It's happening without you making it, which is
right.
Always amazing to me. Whenever when I was pregnant, I was like, I would say to my man, I was like, do you know that you could be the dumbest woman on earth and still do this right?
That's such a good
like you were literally just along for the ride. Your body's doing everything. That is amazing to me.
It's so true. And I think you're right. It's just the fact that you can't see it. You can feel it. You can feel it's happening to you, but you don't have anything tangible other than maybe a growing belly or these like random phantom feelings to really prove that it's happening. You're just kind of going through the motions.
Yeah.
But it was a trip. Yeah, I didn't, luckily though, I didn't have the morning sickness, which I was pretty stoked about, because that's not a place I like to be.
No, it's terrible. And people get these little nuggets of stories from me on this podcast, because it's never about me, but sometimes I have a jewel.
I would love to hear the jewel.
I basically found out, me and my partner, we are not technically married. We were not, quote unquote, trying. So, but we weren't not trying either. So basically I wasn't thinking, okay, it's this month I have to take a pregnancy test. No, I wasn't thinking of that. So we find out we're pregnant 7 weeks into the pregnancy. And then I had just booked this job. I was only dancing, not in the air, but it was on a cruise, like for a week and a half in Asia. And we had already gotten our visa, our work visas, everything's approved, flights bought, everything. And so I'm like, people do jobs when they're in their first trimester. I'm not doing aerial. I just have to do this dance number. We were going from Japan to China and China back to Japan on this cruise. And it was so rocky.
Oh no. Oh no.
It was so rocky. Like I was in the bathtub. We had really nice rooms. So I had a bathtub in my room, and like the water would slightly swoosh just a little bit. That's how much we were rocking.
Oof.
And I was like, bleh, like on the verge of throwing up.
Oh, you poor thing.
For 12 days straight.
Oh, that is my
And
worst
even when
nightmare.
I was on the land, it felt like it was rocking.
Oh,
It was terrible. It was
that's terrible. That's so
it was
terrible.
terrible.
That's like
And no one knew I
hell
was
for a
pregnant. No, it's the worst. No one knew I was pregnant on the job, because I didn't want to tell anybody I was pregnant, because who knows in the first trimester. And I wasn't showing, so it doesn't matter.
Right.
I could do my job. I wasn't drinking alcohol. People were like, what's wrong with you? Because everybody who knows me well is like, where's your wine? Where's your wine? And so I was like,
you're like, oh, I just caught a flu bug.
So anyways, that was my experience with morning sickness. It just was, I mean,
that's brutal.
The people, the dancers who were not pregnant were throwing up.
That
from
is so
this damn
brutal.
boat.
Oh my
God,
goodness.
Anna.
Seasickness in and of itself is awful. I can't imagine seasickness and then morning sickness.
And then morning sickness on top of it.
Ooh, that is incredibly rough.
And
I
then
wouldn't wish that
the
on
fact
anyone.
that the time change.
Oh yeah.
It's just I was like, oh my God, this was not a good idea. But I was committed. I'm a professional. I did it. It's also the last time I traveled anywhere. So in a way, I'm glad I did it, because at least I got one good, like I
so
saw,
true.
I think I went to Shanghai for the first time, like I got a lot out of it, but man, for that reason, it was really hard.
But it makes a good story, right?
It makes a really good story. And if you have a podcast about pregnancy, then you better have like a lot of stories.
You better have a good story. Yeah.
Tell me, okay, number one, I want to know if you have a birth plan, and if you do, if you'd share it with us. And then number two, if you have any just funny stories to tell from your pregnancy.
Yeah. So I have a birth plan-ish. I was super happy that we're able to have a doula with us, and she's been helping me create a birth plan, which will work with also kind of flexibility in mind in case who knows what will happen when day comes. Hoping if I were to just paint the picture, I'm hoping to labor at home for as long as I can. I'm hoping to enter into labor naturally. We'll have to go to hospital because it's, the whole insurance thing. That's pretty much where our insurance will cover, which is fine. But I am hoping to go through with it unmedicated, provided that everything goes kind of according to plan. And if any of this is outside of the realm of what you care to know, please let me know.
I care to know all the things. I want to know. I think our listeners want to know too.
Yeah. I'm hoping to go through it unmedicated. I'm hoping to be able to walk around freely as much as I can. I know that hospitals oftentimes they like the intermittent monitoring at the very least. But even with that, I would like to be able to have my mobility around the room. I want to be able to use hot water when I can. Mm-hmm. I'm hoping to do in my mind, it's like there's a dim room and maybe some nice music playing, and I might be in discomfort. There might be some pressure and intensity going on inside of me, but I'm really hoping that the outside, as much as you can make a hospital room feel spa-like, I'm really hoping that we can. I'd like to only push when I'm ready. So, and that's why I'm so grateful we're going to have the doula with us, is that she's going to help me kind of advocate for that, to not push prematurely. And, we want to do the whole delayed cord clamping, which if listeners are not familiar, I don't know if that's already been talked about, but waiting to cut the umbilical cord until I think this hospital I'm going to, their policy is 3 minutes, but my doula says even 1 minute. You want the blood from the umbilical cord to finish being transported to the baby from the placenta. So if you delay that process even by just a minute, but we're going to do 3, that baby gets all that blood, all those delicious nutrients from the umbilical cord. So it's a really good thing to do if you're able to. I want to get some nice skin to skin time. I want it to be, I guess the way to kind of sum it up is as intervention free as possible, being that my health and baby's health are all in good shape and there's nothing calling for it to be otherwise. But I also recognize that those things can't just be planned, and just because I want them, they might not go that way. So there is a certain part of me that is open to, the flexibility of it and things kind of being whatever they may turn out to be. And that probably is better said than done, easier said than done, but I'm trying to go into it with as open of a mind as possible.
I love it. Okay, so I'm going to ask for a pre-booking for after the baby comes out, and we're going to see. Now I want to see what happens. Of course,
I love that.
So we'll do that. We'll do like the before and the after, and you can be like, it went the way I imagined, or you could be like, oh, that plan got tossed in the first 5 minutes. So we will.
I love that.
Wait for this.
I am so excited. I am so excited too. We'll definitely have to reconnect after. That will be. Oh yeah, we're gonna let you
have your time with the baby and with your husband, and then at some point we'll come back. But I think that I love it. I love this. I have a lot of good vibes coming out to you that. Possibly it could go, the way you would imagine it to go.
That's what I want. I from what I understand, you got to fill yourself with as much of that as possible. because there is so much to be scared by. And I think people in general, not intending to, tend to put that information out. But what I've come to understand is anything anyone tells me advice-wise is usually just a projection of what they've been through, or someone they knew have gone through. But it's whatever I experienced is going to be completely unique to me. So it might not be what I just said. It might be something completely different than that. But that's an experience that I won't be able to get by listening to well-intended, but maybe not necessary advice from others, if that makes sense.
Unsolicited advice during pregnancy and being a mom, it's like...
It's a thing.
Wow. And you know what? When it comes from other moms, that's when I'm most irritated. I'm like, don't you know that all of us can't stand this? Like, just choose to go a different direction with, you know what I'm saying? I
do.
It's the worst. I'm just like, just because that happened that way for you does not mean, not because of any reason, but the universe just, your journey is your journey.
Yes.
I need a t-shirt that says unsolicited advice, not welcome here.
I want one of those t-shirts too, please. You can put in a double order for me. It blows my mind as well. I don't get it. And unless it's like that something happened to them. Maybe it was a little traumatic, or maybe it was, maybe it changed their personal world. So they're like, let me warn this person, or let me tell this person, but even just the little common things people say, like, you better sleep now, it's just like unhelpful statements that even if there's an element of truth to that, there's really no reason to say it because,
Yeah. And pregnancy is super rude.
Yeah.
It's super rude. Like, people would say that to me in my third trimester. They were like, you better sleep now. And I couldn't sleep in my third trimester. And I just started getting normal sleep. And my baby is like 19 months. So, but no advice coming from a third party is going to change the journey of that, the painfulness, the sleep deprivation. Or I have, friends, Sarah, who comes on this podcast all the time.
She's great.
She's not having any of that. They have their own struggles, but not that particular one, not the sleep thing.
There you go.
And so
there you go.
Yeah, I just we all need that t-shirt. It should be printed on the front and the back.
You should do that as from the Expecting Aerialist podcast.
Maybe that'll be like the free gift that everybody gets.
Yes, I love that.
even unsolicited advice on Ariel, that too, because that's
totally
like everybody's got their own thing. Just unless they're going to fall to their death by being naive or not being careful, let them be them.
Oh, totally agree with that. I can't believe, and that again, it's just coming from, and it's often these people maybe on the internet that you've never met before, that they do not know a thing about you, that feel the need to comment on what you're doing as though they know your body and they know your choices better than you yourself, which is another thing that just I will never understand.
Let me ask you though.
Do that. Yes.
So I did not announce my pregnancy on Instagram for work purposes because I was still wanting to go back into the commercial dance world, maybe.
Right.
So I stayed away from it. Rachel trained and posted, and so did you. Now, no matter if you get 99.9% good comments, there's always that one or that two. How do you deal with that? And has it been worth it?
You know what the funniest thing somebody said to me, which, because I realized a little bit ago you also said for funny story, and I completely didn't. I skirted over that. Maybe a branch off that question, but to respond to what you just said is that somebody said, I didn't think you were supposed to lift anything heavy while pregnant.
Oh, that's great.
It's like, excuse me, like, I know my body is changing and I know that I'm heavy, but like, do we really need to put that out there? And yeah, I put it out there in the beginning. Right from the get-go, I guess I guess part of me was just kind of like, I don't really care. Like if people have these really negative or maybe just they're innocently asking a question that they don't understand the gravity of what they're asking or the connotation of what they're asking or how it could be offensive because they just have never been in my shoes before or they haven't been pregnant before. I kind of just told myself, I'm going to put it out there. It's my choice to do that. That means that people can choose to react however they want to. But just because people are reacting that way, ultimately, their opinions, their comments really don't carry any weight in what's going on with me. It's really just about what I know is right for me, what my care providers know what's right for me. And I really just had that mindset going into it. So when I did get any comments like that, none of them really got me too bad. I never felt overly frustrated by them.
That's good. That's good. Yeah, when I was at that point in my pregnancy, well, it's different for me because I was on pelvic rest. I wasn't able to train through my pregnancy. Had I might have done what you or Rachel did. But in my mind, I wish I had the bravery. I didn't really want to put myself in a position where people felt like they had the power or the bandwidth to have a comment on what my pregnancy was like. So, but I have to say the reason why in a different world, if I had a different health situation going on in my pregnancy, I would have wanted to was because overall, I feel like we need leaders in the community like you, like Rachel, like my friend Sarah, other Sita also trained in her pregnancy and posted.
Sita.
And I feel like those are brave things to do. Maybe not the bravest thing to do in the world, but it is brave when it comes to, we are vulnerable and you're more vulnerable if you're pregnant. And people can say a lot of things from behind their computer and behind their phone. But if we don't have those leaders doing it, then it's important.
Right. I definitely agree with you. I think it's important to normalize these things so that people understand that it's not, especially if somebody's been doing aerial for long enough that they know their body to the T, these professionals that have been doing it as their careers for years and years and years are going to know their bodies and what their bodies can handle. I also understand the other side of things and not maybe wanting to put it out there, even if you could have, because like you said, and just as we've kind of mentioned, pregnancy is a vulnerable place to be and it's an intimate place to be. So it's kind of like nobody really deserves to know that about you unless you want to share it because people can be ruthless. And that's not, I completely understand not wanting to invite that or not wanting to open up a space for people to feel like they can give you their 2 cents. So I do get both sides, but I agree that I think the kind of the coolest feedback I've gotten since I put it out there is just how many other pregnant aerialists are out there right now who are like, thank you for continuing to train. And maybe they're a couple months before me in their pregnancy, or maybe they're trying and they're just nervous about what pregnancy will do to their own aerial journey. And I think that they do appreciate seeing people who are, later in their trimester, in their second, third, even trimester, still doing it because it gives them a little bit of hope that they can also keep doing it. And I will say,
it's inspirational.
Yeah.
Like it inspires people to see that because for you, because you never stopped, it's something that you're able to do, but it is still incredible.
Oh, thank you.
Still incredible. Yeah, it is, no matter how you cut it. And I feel like it's just so wonderful to give, the worldwide aerial community out there something to see when it comes to like an example.
That means a lot. I really do love that. And I hope that when people, as they're maybe entering into their pregnancies, if anyone is listening to this and happens to be in that position, to also know that like whatever may happen to you or in this pregnancy, it's all okay. And just because I'm doing it this far along, it doesn't mean that there's anything to be embarrassed about if somebody isn't able to do it this far along, you know? And I think that's also, I have a unique circumstance, and I think most people who can train well into their third trimester have a unique circumstance where they have to know their body and the limitations of their body like really well. And there can't really be a whole lot of guesswork in terms of, you know, like, will this movement hurt me or not? Like, you just kind of want to know that it's not going to. So I've definitely adapted my own training a lot, especially in this third trimester. But I guess I want to put that asterisk out there because people sometimes just have to stop, or it gets too scary and they don't want to keep going. And I think that's perfectly okay.
Yeah.
And normal as well, you know?
Yeah. I have my friend who has the 4-month-old. She's been, she's been on a Cirque show before the pandemic and, 10, 12 shows a week for years. And she was like, whew. Yeah. Let me take a break.
Yeah.
I'll see you guys in a year and a half. And I'm like, good for you. You've been doing aerial like a beast for years. Take some time,
Take a break.
Yeah. I just love that there's just so many ways to do it, and they're all okay.
That's like if you could put the period at the end of the sentence, it would be that. It's all okay. I think as long as you're not pushing yourself beyond a point that is going to be healthy, because it is such a unique time for your body when you go through growing another human. I mean, there's so much happening inside of us that we can't see and sometimes can't even feel. So I think just like knowing what your limitations are and then being okay adapting to them, it's all going to be okay as long as you work within those kind of parameters and you're not trying to do too much or, condition yourself and make sure that you are as strong of an aerialist after pregnancy as you were before, right when you get back into it. As long as you don't have unrealistic expectations, I think it's all okay. And there's so much available and so many progressions available depending on where people are at when they continue training throughout.
I used this comparison with somebody who was trying to get me to explain them, like, why is it okay for me to do aerial when I was in my first trimester? And I was like, it's more dangerous for me when I'm in my first trimester to try to run a mile. Because I don't run.
Right.
I don't run or swim. I would die. Everybody knows that I will die if I get in water. Like,
they're always saying swimming's like the best thing you can do for your pregnancy, unless you don't swim.
Unless you don't know how to fucking swim. So it's like, this is something that we know so well.
Right.
And, I feel like that fear can really be put on not you, not me, all of us.
Right.
From the outside world, of people who don't really understand what it is that we do in the first place. So, which is why this community is really important, so that we can be like, okay, you're my people. What are we talking about? Let's get specific,
I love it. And I was actually I was listening to your episode with the circus doc. I absolutely loved the message that you might be making adjustments that you have to correct afterwards, but it's still okay. Like, you might be, there was one that I'm totally guilty of when she mentioned you might be putting a little bit more into your lats than your abdomen or, the various muscles in your core. And that might need to be sorted out afterwards. But it's kind of these things where, like, it's okay. That's kind of part of it. You're changing your recruitment patterns, but you can also change them back as you need to after with the right technique and programming.
Yeah. I mean, I have to say I'm about a year and a half after I gave birth, and my lower abs are really up and down.
That's interesting.
Yeah, like if I train really hard for a week or so, I can get to a really good place, and then a week and a half later, doing a straddle climb is like just as hard as it was a year ago.
What do you find works the best for you in terms of accessing those at this point?
So I regressed my inversion training like 8 months after I gave birth because I was plateauing in a place where it wasn't helping me. So because I'm in the studio a lot, and that's also a very first world, lucky thing, because I'm in the studio 6 days a week because I'm teaching. So I would do a knot in the fabric, and I would do like knee up to a half of an egg.
Oh, that's great.
Like I would do a set of 10 and then a set of 10 straddles, straight leg straddles turned out, but with the assistance of the loop. And I would do 10 and 10, 5 or 6 days a week. And if I did that, my straddle in the air would be like not plateaued anymore.
Right.
But what happened was, because my child is now heavier, she's, 20 some pounds. I'm holding her a lot. She really wants to be held a lot. I started, and I'm teaching so much. I've been talking about this on the podcast the last couple of weeks. Like my chest got really tight and weak because of my repetitious movement outside of aerial. And I got to a point where I was like overusing my aerial muscles, because can I tell you that the outside of my arms is used for aerial, silks mostly, because we're in this weird grip.
Right.
Holding a baby and holding my phone. What do I do the most in my life? Those three things. Like those three things I do the most. I try to I have like these adult coloring books that I use when you want to kind of zen out.
Yeah.
I can't color for longer than 5 minutes because it's the same fucking muscle. You know what I'm saying? I was like, are you kidding me? Yeah. So
I need something else.
I need something else. So basically, I'm like overtrained on like a couple small muscles attached to my elbows. So I can't train as much because I'm overtrained in one part of my body and not training enough in another part. It is a first world problem, a niche of a problem.
I'm so curious to know, because I imagine, that's such a huge part of it. You're picking up your baby, your child, your toddler all the time now. So it's putting your body in this kind of constant state of kind of a forward roll with the shoulders and
internal rotation. Woo! And then I do a mental note every time I pick her up, like glutes, abs.
Oh yeah.
Like use my shoulder blades when I have her on me, stand up, bring my shoulders back. Like I do that.
Oh, that's great.
Which is probably why I'm not worse.
Right. But it still affects you, I'm sure, as it would me, I'm sure, and as it would anyone. It's interesting to think how that, like, in when we do silks, ideally we're not rounding all the time, but that is, you kind of, your body tends to go in that direction unless you're like really working on bringing those shoulder blades together, which is
you can't climb with your hands behind you, which is
right.
No.
So it's inevitable. You're going to kind of always be in that state. So this is really good. This is the good type of, it was unintentional advice, but I'm going to do some rows. Definitely get ready for this.
Like in a class, if I'm like, damn, I need it. Well, first of all, I don't demo hardly at all because my students just know that I'm not going to do it for them.
That's great.
And especially if they want to see it twice. I'm like, oh no, that's why we have iPhones. No.
Where were you the first time, guys?
Yeah. So I've started doing like a crochet climb as my basic climb sometimes because it puts the pressure on my legs to do and my hips to do the work. And then especially if I was going to end up in a inversion at the top anyway. So sometimes I'll do that as my basic climb, but that's a pain in the ass.
That's what I've been doing, actually, a crochet climb. Yeah, that's been my go. That and then a split tissue footlock climb have been
nice.
Once I hit 34 weeks, those were the two ways I'm ascending the fabric right now. Just because I stopped feeling good about my abdomen as I was just pulling up into more of a basic climb.
Yeah, like, just the knees coming up into the chest. That recruits a lot of the muscles in the front.
Yes.
Yeah.
Starting to feel a little more, gooey down there in terms of just like not being able to fully, like I can sit here as we're talking and completely engage throughout and feel my transverse and just feel really strong there. But when that goes into the air, it's definitely getting more wibbly wobbly. So,
well, like how Dr. Emily talked about it, we are creating the stabilization ourselves when we're in the air. There's no stabilized force. There's no ground. There's no wall. There's no bar.
I love that.
I mean, that really breaks down why it's just so hard to do an inversion, because there's no stabilizing element besides ourselves.
Right. Absolutely. And once I started to really feel that, and like I said, I think it was about 34 weeks. I also didn't really, my stomach never really popped. Like I get a lot of comments that I don't look as pregnant as I am. And I don't mean that in a good way necessarily.
No, but see, here's my thing. Why do people make that comment too?
Oh my goodness.
Like you're so big for your 8 months. You're so small for 8 months. Like it bothers women.
It really does. When people say, I can't even tell you're pregnant, I'm like, excuse me, I have been building a human for 9 months. Can you please tell I'm pregnant? Like, or keep those comments to yourself, It's not your business.
It's such a vulnerable state to be in when you're 7.5 months pregnant, and for somebody to drop a comment like that.
Oh yeah.
It's like, okay, you can go straight to hell, because especially if it's a man.
Oh, especially.
I'm just like, oh, hell no.
I went to I was at a little nursery picking up some plants, and I was probably only like, I was not that far in, but I was in that stage of pregnancy where you just feel and are really bloated. So I had like a little bit going on, and I was wearing this jacket, and the guy who was checking me out at the cash register, like, I was buying plants from him type of checking me out, said to me, oh, are we expecting a boy or a girl? And I was like, oh, buddy, you just got really lucky, because there was nothing about me that actually, like I think in general, you just better to play it safe with making comments about people's bodies, especially if you don't know them.
Oh, God, men. There are some really smart men out there, but then there are some really dumb men out there.
They just don't get it. Some just don't get it.
They don't get it. Like, keep it to yourself.
Yeah, just keep it to yourself, buddy.
That will be the other t-shirt that Wrap Your Head Around Silks will print. Keep it to yourself. The world does not care what you think at all.
All of that on the t-shirt.
All of it on the t-shirt.
Yeah, all of it on the t-shirt.
I'm taking notes right now, Anna. This is how I'm going to.
Customer.
Oh my God. Okay. You know what I forgot to ask you about? So you're also an amazing photographer who has shot a lot of aerialists. I would love to post the picture, one of your photos.
Yes.
Because you just look so beautiful in it. You're upside down on the fabric. Here's my question. How do you shoot yourself? How are you doing that? Like, how are you setting that up?
That is such a good question. I've done a couple of these. One time it was completely self-portrait, and I used a clicker. So I had it in my hand as I was climbing, or I think at that time I actually put it in my mouth to climb. And then, so just a clicker that when you hit the button, it fires the camera. It's connected through a little transmitter. Mm-hmm. This time I brought Nick along, the poor thing, and I set up all my lighting, and I kind of told him exactly as I wanted him to frame me and as I wanted the composition to be. And I set the camera settings before he took the camera. So he was my trigger firer. So that was kind of like... Was
he also your stunt double? Did you make him go up and frame him?
Yeah. For one of the things, yes. For most of it was a lot of trial and error, and him being extremely patient with my extreme pickiness over the way the shot looked.
I love it.
Yeah, it was a longer shoot than probably when I shoot other people, because he's amazing. He obviously was incredible to do it for me, but he's not a photographer, and you can't just press a button and hope things go well. You kind of have to also understand angles. Luckily, he's been a dancer his whole life. He's an aerialist himself, so he does understand the angle of the body and what looks best in different positions. So that made it a lot smoother to get those shots.
I've heard from a lot of photographers who have shot me in the past. They're like, I have this inspiration, and they want to be in the picture, and they just can't get somebody to do it the way they want it to be done. And it's such a frustrating thing for some of my friends. But I have to say too, when you go back to work, I want to get in line. I've never shot with you.
Yes, Carrie, I would love to take your picture.
Let's do that.
Oh my goodness. I'm thinking like fall time is when
Ooh.
We're going to take a little moment, and we're going to go to Michigan and introduce my baby girl to my family.
Nice.
When I get back, hopefully doors will be open. I would love to photograph you.
Oh my God. And I've seen your stuff so much, but I think in the last couple years, I've only done like 2 because it's a pain in the ass. Like you have to figure out where you're doing it. It's not the easiest. I'm sure a lot of people out there will be like, yeah, it is not easy to organize a photo shoot.
Aerial photography is a thing because, like you said, you need the space, you need the rig, you need all of that. You also need a photographer who understands what looks good on an aerialist. And because not everyone is going to have the same type of line, and everyone will have different lines and shapes that work well for them and their bodies, and not all shapes look good in photos. That some of them are just movement shapes, they look really great in motion. So yeah, for all those reasons, aerial shoots can be they can be difficult to coordinate.
Yeah. And I have a couple, and I'm like, oh, okay. So you and I have a plan. We're going to do a photo shoot. We're going to do the before and after podcast.
I love it. I'm so excited.
For your pregnancy, for your birth. And then for all my listeners out there, so her and her husband, they have the aerial house. Am I correct? Right. I don't want to say it wrong.
No, that was perfect.
It's in Alhambra, correct?
That's right. Yes. It's actually right next to. It's considered Los Angeles, kind of El Sereno, but it's directly next to Alhambra.
Okay, cool. So then you can go get some dim sum afterwards.
Yes.
The Asian people cook so good. Oh my God. Some of the best Chinese food that you'll ever have in your life is either in San Francisco or LA.
For sure.
Yeah, I'm sure the New York people would be like, but wait, how about us? New York too. But I like hands down the best Chinese food to me is not in China. It's here in America.
There are some delicious spots right near our studio. When
right near you guys.
We would go there to them all the time. So good.
So good. So every time I go to Alhambra, the only reason I usually go is for food, by the way. I usually, but then I'll come for a photo shoot. So she's got the aerial house. It has survived the pandemic. So if you listeners out there ever take a trip to LA, as well as coming to Womack and Bowman, which I will always say, because then you can come say hi to me. You can also go say hi to Anna.
Yes,
and, book a photo shoot too, because her work is fantastic.
Thank you.
I am so excited for there to actually be a pregnant aerialist on the Expecting Aerialist podcast.
I'm so happy. Thank you for having me, Carrie.
It's so good. You can find Anna on Instagram. Can you please give your handle? Because I'm going to get it wrong.
Yeah, don't worry. It's 00 Silk Drop. Silk like SILK, drop DROP. It was just an inside joke between a friend of mine and I a long time ago. 00 Silk Drop.
It's stuck. So you can find her there.
That's right.
And Anna, this has been
it's wonderful.
Fun. And now you have inspired the t-shirt line that will be out, I'm sure, in about a year.
I'm so excited.
Maybe I can make it be aerial friendly and pregnancy friendly. Those pregnancy t-shirts with the ruching on the side?
You should definitely do that. That's a whole market. Pregnant women would love to wear that. I'd love to wear that shirt.
Yeah, like the ruching, and then it goes right under the belly so that it's not super baggy.
Oh yeah. Oh no, you don't want baggy. You want to show the bump, but you also want to deliver the message. So
Keep it to yourself.
Keep it to yourself.
So funny. Amazing. Okay, so best wishes for an amazing, life-altering, incredible meeting of your daughter. I'm so excited for you. And
thank you so much.
I will touch base with you in a couple months.
Cannot wait.
And then we can press on with our grand ideas.
Let's do it. I can't wait. We've got a lot coming up.
A lot coming up. Thank you so much, Anna.
My pleasure, Carrie. Thank you.
All right, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in today. And thank you, Anna. If everybody will give their collective good vibes out for her labor, that would be amazing. Thanks so much for being here. Thanks to Asa Watkins for post-production. And go ahead and click the link in the show notes, grab your free copy of the ebook, and let me know how you like it. Yeah, you want to tell them bye? Can you say bye?
Bye.
Bye.